I watched it on Prime Video.
Yeah.
So 5-year difference between Clerks and this.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that 5-year difference is going to be a huge quality upgrade?
Was this shot on film?
Fuck.
Clerks was shot on film. I don't know if this was shot on film.
I don't know if it was shot on film. You might as well say it was.
It looks like it was shot on really shitty film. It looks like it was shot on the same film that Clerks was shot on. They reused it. That's how shitty this was.
Use film.
Yeah, it looks like it was recorded over something. It's like when you have that VHS where you just recorded your 16th porno on the same tape and you're like, I can't see shit. This chick's got 3 titties and a dick. I don't know which scene is which.
I got a confused boner right now.
Oh, wait, sorry. I recorded Total Recall on the same tape. My bad.
I wonder what's on the tube.
Welcome back.
Thank you for being a friend.
What you talking about, Willis?
You are a meathead.
Nothing for you.
Adjust those bunny ears, but don't change that channel, because it's time for Sitcom My Face. Here's where I usually say, I'm Jay, and that's Nick, but, I think Nick's taking a shit. Nick had some tummy issues, so we have some guests. As you said, Joe, he does feel special right now, I'm sure, because it takes 2 people to fill his shoes. I'm sure it's not taking too much to fill his toilet at the moment, but,
I'm sure he's grateful no matter what, though.
He's probably like, you son of a bitch. What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, we're here to talk about a show that I had shockingly never seen, even though I love a lot of the people in it. Spaced. Would you like to introduce yourself, guests? However you'd like.
Want me to go first? You want to go first?
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Okay.
That's why I went first. I have the biggest titties.
Of course, Jay.
Yeah, would you like to go by Amanda or like thought number 3? Whatever you like.
I feel the bitch is the appropriate title, but you can just call me Amanda. You know, that works too.
Not just bitch, the bitch.
Yeah, the bitch. The
Queen bitch.
Yes.
Queen bitch.
Yes. Yeah, no, you call me Amanda, but yeah, no, I actually enjoyed this show, even though it's like really, really wacky. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the episodes that you made me watch, man, like even though I didn't watch them in order, they were just all over the place, but it caught my attention. It was grand. It was
every once in a while, like I'll be bored and I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna watch some episodes for whatever show we're gonna cover, and she'll hop on here and watch them with me. So the other night I just had her hop on and she watched some of the episodes with me, and then when Nick fell ill, he's like, go on without me. Go on without me.
Carry the name. It'll be okay.
Well, all right, Amanda, you want to hop in here since you endured it with me anyway? So thank you. And then down here, Joe, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
First time on the show. Amanda was here before for our Full House redo, but Joe, first time on the podcast.
Yep. My name's Joe. This will be my second time going through Spaced. I saw it about 10 years ago. I absolutely love Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, so it was just great watching it again, especially after seeing Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, the Cornetto trilogy. Just seeing that a lot, and then going back and watching this, I could see where they got a lot of their ideas from. So,
yeah. We're all huge fans of Shaun of the Dead, especially. But yeah, the whole trilogy is amazing. I feel like
the third one, I really
not a big fan of that one, huh?
No, not a real big fan of that one, but the other two.
Yeah, it was cool to see, like you said, the origins of these guys, like Nick Frost, Simon Pegg. The girl I don't remember, but yeah, she does have a little spot there in Shaun of the Dead. And, of course, Edgar Wright directed, I think, every episode of this.
I think so.
And also directed those 3 films that we spoke of. So it is cool to see the style. You can definitely tell the influences, the horror influences especially, and we will get into that one episode there that kind of sparked Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
The funny thing I saw with this show, correct me if I'm wrong, it said it went from 99 to 2001, but they skipped 2000.
Yeah,
I think season 1 is 99 and then season 2 is 2001. So I mean, British shows do that a lot. They're very short, and sometimes they will pick up years later.
Their first season was their best season. It has the most ratings and everything. Where the second season, I could see why they only had 2 seasons. I wasn't thrilled with the ending of the series either. It was a little weird. It kind of just cut and dropped really quick, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, we'll discuss the ending. Actually, I think it's a pretty decent ending. I know, Amanda, you didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I didn't get to sit down and watch that one.
The premise of the show, you have basically 2 people who end up, they need a place to live. They end up meeting in a tea shop. You know, Britain, love their fucking tea. Here's my tea right here.
Here's my tea. Pinky out.
They meet in a tea shop and end up going like, hey, there's this apartment available, but it's only for couples. So kind of the cheesy sitcom premise that they kind of play with, but not a whole lot. It comes up every now and then, but we have to pretend to be a couple and re-rent this apartment together. We just covered, we as in me and Nick, we just covered Three's Company a few episodes ago. And if you recall, the premise of that show was he had to pretend to be gay to live with the women. So it's a little similar in that sense, which is funny because that show is also based on a British show. Of course, a long ago British show, because that was the 70s, but it's one of those things, and it's just, we need a little hook for the landlady to, wait, you guys aren't dating? Or wait.
Yeah, you gotta do the cigarette, man. You gotta get that cigarette and the drink. Don't forget the drink.
Wait, you guys aren't dating? No. Yeah.
I was honestly surprised about that. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was also surprised how often that wasn't brought up about them not dating but dating. It
feels like it was like once per episode, but they do kind of have a payoff in the final episode, which is funny. That it wasn't really necessary to begin with.
Yeah.
It was kind of put in the ad by accident, it seemed like, right? With a little cameo by Ricky Gervais.
Professional couple.
Mm-hmm. Right. So let's go over the cast real quick, because I know, obviously, some of their names that I mentioned, but I don't know all of their names. So you have the 2 leads and writers, which is interesting for a show like this, where I think every episode they wrote together, right?
I think so.
Simon Pegg, everyone knows from the films we mentioned, as well as Star Trek and the Mission Impossible films, plays Tim Bisley. Jessica Haynes plays Daisy Steiner, or Jessica Hines plays Daisy Steiner. You have Julia Deacon as Marcia Klein, Nick Frost as Mike Watt, Mark Heap as Brian Topp, and Katie Carmichael as Twist Morgan. And those are really your main cast who appear in everything. You do have, wait, I didn't even notice the co-worker's name. Bill Bailey as Bilbo Bagshot. That's his fucking name in the comic book store?
Yeah, Bilbo.
Bilbo Bagshot. And the girlfriend of 4 episodes was Sophie, played by Lucy Ackhurst. But yeah, your main core cast is the landlord, the crazy painter Brian, the 2 leads there, Daisy and Tim, and Twist is kind of the outlier of the main cast for me. She didn't really seem to add much to the show, but I didn't find her particularly attractive, but I almost feel like she was only there for maybe a little bit of eye candy. So she's the bitch of the show, which I do love.
I thought that was Colin, the dog.
He's a man. How could he be a bitch?
Actually, Colin was a female.
Oh,
in the show or in real life?
On the IMDb, Ada the dog, born in 1997, died April 22nd, 2010.
Moment of silence for Colin.
It's a good boy. It's a good boy.
Good girl.
Oh, yeah.
But was playing a male? Man, that's some early trans acceptance right there. Tell you what.
Well, they did touch base on that,
They
that stuff
did.
in the series
Vulva.
too, and I was like, wait, what?
Which was
20, is this 2023 made? What the hell's
it
going on?
reminded me of Seinfeld, the episode where they're trying to figure out what the girl's name, and she's like, it rhymes with the name of a part of a woman's anatomy, and they're just like, vulva. They're trying to think of anything that.
That isn't the obvious choice.
Can't wait till we cover Seinfeld. Whoa.
What happened to your camera?
Don't know. I think the ghost of fucking Colin just was like, fuck you, bro.
Dog came over here and said, not in my house, bro.
I think a tremor from
You talking shit,
from
bro?
him shitting actually shaked your camera up.
Nick is still here in presence, guys.
Colin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so how many episodes did you get to watch, man? We watched what, maybe 6 together?
I want to say we watched the final 2 episodes of season 1. I think episode 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. And
Today
then
was 4 and 5.
Yeah, 4 and 5, and I know we watched I think 2 more or at least 1 more in season 2.
I watched all of them except for 2, I think, in season 2. And there's only 14 episodes total. 7 episodes per season. Did you get through them all, Joe?
Oh yeah.
All right. So, general consensus. Where do you fall on a show like this?
Like, would I recommend it or just?
We'll start with, so you have on a scale of 5.
On a scale of 5.
What would you give this out of 5?
I give it a 4, like a very low 4, maybe like a solid 4.0, because it's fun, it's wacky, it's got a good premise, like I said earlier, they don't hammer in the fact that, oh, we gotta pretend to be the couple, like every few scenes is them pretend to be the couple because the landlord walked in. It's nothing like that. It's brought up, occasionally, but it's mainly focusing on what they do as people, how they're living on day to day, and it's funny. Like, it's wacky, but it's funny, and it's out there. But it's typical British comedy.
I do love good British comedy.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Joe? Out of 5, what do you give this?
3.
Okay. Pretty middle of the road.
I found it mediocre. I could see where he got his start, really, like his big kickoff. And he does give odes to that through his career. But I feel like if you are not a fan of Shaun of the Dead or Simon Pegg or anything like that, and you were just to pick it up and watch it, I feel that you'd be lost. Like, the British do have that certain sense of humor, and I just don't think that humor is something that is going to be more today. It's kind of like lost humor. So I give it a 3. But me personally, I would actually give it, like, as Amanda said, a 4. I love Shaun of the Dead. I love Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. It's comedy gold. It should be under the cult classics to me.
Her writing credit on here was a different last name, right? She must have got married. Was it Stevenson? Is that what her maiden name was? Jessica Stevenson, I think, was what the name on the episodes was. Because I don't think it was Hines, but yeah, she must have got married and changed her credit since then. Well, did you see who they credit? Actually, she specifically, in an interview I saw, credited as one of her inspirations, someone we both love and have met now, Joe.
Kevin Smith?
Yes. They credited Clerks and the way he spoke of pop culture, especially. This show is soaked in pop culture.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Evil Dead poster on the Evil Dead 2 poster on the wall, the whole series.
All the
you got
Laura
Simpsons
Croft.
on his door. He's constantly playing video games. There's the great scene, which we'll probably talk about, with Resident Evil 2. The whole episode is like clips of Resident Evil 2. He was just playing Tomb Raider in one we watched.
He works at a comic book store.
There's a great episode.
2 comic
Oh,
book
yeah.
series.
There's a great episode, that episode where he basically loses his job because of his hatred for Phantom Menace.
Come on, man. Wasn't that bad?
I loved the line in the one we watched earlier about Star Trek. He goes, as sure as every odd-numbered Star Trek sucks, which I love because he eventually was, he's Scotty, right? In the Star Trek trilogy they did. Yeah, there's so many great references to pop culture in this. And if it's not being spoke of, it's in the background, it's on the wall, it's in the comic book shop. That whole wall behind them is usually like Tales from the Crypt or something comic, stuff like that. So there's really cool references.
Yeah, I noticed several different comments. I think I saw Weird Science at one point.
That one we just watched today also was an entire episode, basically a parody of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
And don't forget...
Daisy's working in the kitchen, and the whole thing is basically One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. With their boss being Nurse Ratched, the bitch.
And don't forget the whole Fight Club reference with the Robot Wars.
Same episode, yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Really great stuff in there, as far as references go. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see so many video game things. Like, he's playing PlayStation 1 this whole series.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of... It's interesting the way they actually use the game footage to tie into the story, which I've never really seen with video games in a show.
Yeah, usually it's one of those like generic random games you would just throw in, or as I've seen like in Krampus, Dead Space mobile port. It's always just something generic, or something you really don't see. So you can't discuss this show without talking about Edgar Wright and his amazing camera work,
which
did, of course, follow into things like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. The seeds for those shots are right here in this show, which is really cool.
Definitely.
Maybe a little overdone in the first couple episodes, and I've seen him even comment on that I wish I had done a few less handheldy, zoomy shots, but
I don't know. Like, he's really good about the quick action, over dramatic shots. That's what I love about Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Like the scene in Shaun of the Dead where making toast, spreading the butter or jam, and then tapping the coffee cup with the spoon and everything. Like, it's just quick, over dramatic. I love those things. I find it to be like a great transition from one situation to the next.
Careful, you're gonna get the ghost as a dog to knock my camera over again. Using words like that. Transition. I saw a panel discussion with Simon and her and Edgar Wright, and even Edgar Wright was like, "Yeah, the crash zooms were a bit much in the first season." He goes, I felt like I needed to do a crash zoom every time the camera cut. Oh, sorry, I guess it wouldn't have been Resident Evil 2 in this. It would have been Biohazard 2, since overseas it's called Biohazard. Yeah. Sorry.
Gotta be technical.
You say that here, they think Resident Evil 7. That was Biohazard. You're an idiot.
No, it's Resident Evil 7.
Who is your favorite character on the show?
Mine? That's kind of hard. They all stood out to me in their own unique ways. Of course, Simon Pegg's character is always just such a random treat to have, especially in what was the third episode we watched, where Daisy broke up with her boyfriend, and he had this whole daydream of what he would really say to her.
He jumps out the window?
Yeah. Like, I love that. But also, I enjoy Brian. Like, he's weird. He's super weird, but I get it. He's a tragic artist, but that man really needs a break.
Tragic is an understatement.
Like, every time we cut to him, no matter what episode we wound up watching, it was always something sad with him. What was it? That one girlfriend dumped him. Yeah, his mom was yelling at him in another one. Like, it's just always sad with him. I feel so bad.
Who's your favorite character, Joe?
Oh, Nick Frost playing Mike Watt. Oh my goodness, that guy. He was having non-flashbacks without being a non. That guy was just fucking crazy. And the fact that they just had like Uzis and shit like that laying around inside their apartment, like it was nothing. It was just
in the first couple episodes, I was very confused because he would only be like on the phone or something. I'm like, is he ever going to show up? And then finally, like by episode 3 or 4, he's finally coming to the house and shit. But you're like, it's weird that your lead is he's only in what 3 seconds of the pilot, but he's a lead, he's a main character basically.
Yeah.
He's like on the phone like, "Hey, I exist. Goodbye." You're like, "Oh, okay."
And when he started living there and he was sleeping on the couch, I just started laughing because I was like, "Yep, Shaun of the Dead."
Yeah, if you watch these and then you watch Shaun of the Dead, there's so many comparable moments.
Yes.
Like even that paintball one we watched today where Mike's dying in his arms.
Oh, and he's
It
being so
reminded me
overly
very
dramatic.
much of the end there of Shaun of the Dead.
Just let me go to sleep now. No.
Spitting up the paint. Just little pieces of brilliance like that. That moment where he jumps up and he's scared of the dog, and behind him is the Evil Dead 2 poster, and he does the exact same pose as the girl on the poster behind him. Like stupid little visual gags like that are so good. Do you wish it got a 3rd season? Do you think this should have gone longer, or are you happier they went on to film?
I honestly, a lot of things are being revived, remade, and stuff like that. If they were to revive this for an additional season right now, I'd be on board with it. Where did they go in life? It's been 22 years since they released. So, yeah, or 23 years now. It would be great to see how Simon and Nick, Edgar would handle this, because they definitely have more stuff under their belt. But
the most important question is that shopping cart still in front of their house after all these years?
Oh, wasn't it bad? They would do a remake or a reprisal of the show again. Yeah, no, that shop car would still be there.
For a second,
Be a mall around it, around the house.
When Simon Pegg would like leave the house and go walking down the street, I swear it was the same street that Shaun of the Dead was shot on. I tried looking it up. I couldn't find anything on it, but I swore it. But
I looked up parts of the bar. I was trying to see if the bar was the same, because pieces of the bar looked the same, but not the actual bar itself.
It wasn't. Yeah,
like the table area they sat in seemed similar.
Yeah, it looks somewhat,
but not the actual bar. You know what I mean?
It wasn't the Winchester. Little fun fact: did you know that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost actually used to go to that bar, the Winchester, in real life? Okay, and they used to do trivia night. So in Shaun of the Dead, when they're actually outside the door trying to get inside, and they're knocking on the door saying, "Hey, let us in," we're the ones who do the trivia. That was an ode to them actually partaking in trivia in real life at that bar.
They played trivia or they hosted trivia?
They played.
Oh,
nice. I used to do that all the time. I hosted for a little bit too, but I did play bar trivia a lot.
I was never very good at it, unless it was specifically like nerd stuff. Ask me like a mathematical or astrology questions. No, couldn't help you.
My buddy invited me to a trivia night one time, and he goes, "They take a bunch of popular movies and they put them in a hat, and you don't know what the category is going to be till you get there." He goes, "But I need you because you're my movie guy." And I was like, "Okay, dude." He talked me into it. I go to this fucking bar, and we get there, and they fucking got their little hat. They go, "All right, let's see what movie trivia we're doing tonight." And they drew out fucking Star Wars, like the least fucking thing I know in the world. And I was like, "Fuck!" And I was like, "What?"
I failed you.
Sorry, bud. I guess I'm sitting here drinking while you fail.
Did you sit there like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I use my phone a friend, please?
Inside joke. So we had a buddy in high school. He made us go to fucking, I think it was episode 1 and 2 on different birthdays of his. And one of our other classmates, he fucking watched. He was always mouth agape.
You guys went and saw episode 2.
Was it 2? Oh, maybe it was 2 and 3 actually. Then
because it was the one where Yoda decided to jump all over the fucking place. Like he was cracked out.
But this kid just watched the screen the whole fucking time. I was just like, stop drooling, dude. Get the fuck out of here. I think those are the only ones I've ever seen, is the ones he made me go to for his birthday.
You know, Simon Pegg was in Star Wars Episode 7?
Is that the same one Kevin Smith was in? He did like a stormtrooper voice or something.
In Episode 7, Simon Pegg was the guy who did the scrap. She would turn in scrap and he would give her food, like rations. He sat behind a...
I think I know what scene you're talking about, but I'm going to be honest, when it comes to the new trilogy, I'm not the biggest fan of it, so I don't really remember it.
When you get to like 9 of them, we can stop calling them trilogies. It's fucking
franchise at this point.
When Rey goes and gets the scrap from the destroyed Star Destroyer and brings it back to the town, and she turns in the scrap and he looks at it and goes, this much. And she goes, but it would have been worth this much, last week. And he goes, yeah, well, things change. You only get this much. And pretty much there's a long line. Yeah, he's actually Simon Pegg's the monster.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, and Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are also, because George Romero loved Shaun of the Dead so much, they actually play zombies in Land of the Dead.
Oh.
He gave them a little cameo. Yeah. Another little inside joke. Hey, because clearly their love of Romero is all over that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the one thing which would be great if they rebooted this, the quality of this show visually is terrible. Like,
yes.
It's hard to, and you think 99, like, you can go back and watch shows in America from the 80s. Full House is better streaming quality than this fucking show, and that's like 88.
Right, but you gotta also understand that Full House had a good production value. They didn't have a good production value.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Right, but they're using cameras that were 12 years newer. There's no reason this show should have looked like this.
Use case production value is going to something else. This was a low-budget
show. It was on the BBC on Channel 4, should mention that. Low-budget show, but your cameras are 12 years newer. Even if you shot this on a fucking Sprint flip phone from 2001, it would have looked better than it looks on this fucking streaming.
Okay, now
granted, I don't have the DVD, so I don't know if the DVD looks better, but this looks terrible on Freevee, which is where we watched it on Amazon.
So
is that where you watched it, Joe?
I watched it on Prime Video.
Yeah.
So 5-year difference between Clerks and this.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that 5-year difference is going to be a huge quality upgrade?
Was this shot on film?
Fuck.
Clerks was shot on film. I don't know if this was shot on film.
I don't know if it was shot on film. You might as well say it was.
It looks like it was shot on really shitty film. It looks like it was shot on the same film that Clerks was shot on. That you reused it. That's not shitty.
Use film.
Yeah, it looks like it was recorded over something. It's like when you have that VHS where you just recorded your 16th porno on the same tape and you're like, I can't see shit. I got one. This chick's got 3 titties and a dick. I don't know which scene is which.
I got a confused boner right now.
Oh, wait, sorry. I recorded Total Recall on the same tape. My bad. Well, like, God damn.
Jimmy's going to be shot when he goes to play Total Recall, though.
But even then, there's a slight quality jump from season 1 to 2 because you have that year in between, but not much. And I did notice, I think what makes it worse, which is actually one of the things I love most about the show, is the cutaways. They handle their cutaway jokes way better than like Family Guy, for instance, which are fucking retarded. But they seem to think they need to do that hazy glow effect when they do cutaways, and it makes the show, because the quality's already so bad, it makes it look worse. So
the added filter.
I'm kind of hoping it wasn't like this when it aired, that it's just the streaming quality. Like I said, if you have the DVD, anybody, comment below if the DVD looks better. Because, I mean, I would purchase the DVD of this if it's better quality than this shit.
I would purchase the DVD just for the commentary.
I was going to say, I saw on YouTube, they do have the commentaries for a lot of the episodes. And I think they may have done it as a podcast. One that I listened to a little bit of actually had Matt Stone from one of the South Park creators. So they may have done like a rewatch podcast where they did a new commentary track for the episodes with different guests.
Well, Space does have a little side thing called Skip to the End, and it was a documentary for it.
Yeah, I mean the DVD actually, I think when I looked on Amazon, it was still like $30-something. I was like, damn, must be out of print.
Quite
you get me
possibly.
the 4K. You give me the 4K upgrade, and I'll come back.
Steelbook at that.
That's right. Did you have any favorite episodes?
Any favorite episodes? I'm gonna be honest, the whole dog heist thing where they had to go get the dog. I thought that was great. that was a fun 2 back-to-back episodes. I still want to know though, what was the irrational fear of the bamboo again?
I don't know.
The dog I got, the lightning I got. I didn't get the bamboo.
They'll throw in weird shit like that, like there's like Psycho references and Omen references that you think are going to come into play, like the where they're all at the bar. I think it was for Daisy's birthday or something, and Brian's taking photos, and then he's in the development room. What the fuck's that called? The red room? What's it called?
Yeah, the red room.
He's in there developing the photos, and they all have the line through them, like the Omen, which is one of my favorites. And there's all this sinister music, and you're like, is that going to play? No, it never comes back in the fucking play.
No, it's just a joke. Just a joke.
They just wanted to do a fucking Omen reference.
I love the paintball one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the BattleBots one. And one I was mentioning earlier before we started recording, the fucking the fucking Broadway musical one. What was it? The one that
the one he went to go see, or Brian
with Brian's ex girlfriend and boyfriend, whatever it is. He keeps changing the pronoun, which is like the thing about the show. He's like, I don't know. He's trying to come to terms with changing the pronoun, which I thought was kind of funny. When
they go to that fucking acting musical thing, and that guy is dressed up, and I thought it was old Greg's cousin. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I have drank Bailey's from a shoe, thank you.
That was the club where they wee on each other. But also, like, I love episode 3 because that's the one that started the whole Shaun of the Dead thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a great opening where he's playing, like we said, Biohazard 2, Resident Evil 2, and he has like basically a cutaway dream, I think, of where he's shooting zombies, and it's very reminiscent. And they said that after that day of shooting, they were like, you know what? Maybe we should think about a zombie movie.
We could.
But on the side of pop culture, how Star Wars Episode 1 was, I do love that episode because there was a lot of people that hated it, and there was a lot of people who loved it, and it literally tore the franchise apart.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good episode.
So that was great.
Was that the first episode of season 2?
Second.
And say that almost, I feel like, from the way the show is such a fanboy of shit like that, you can see Edgar Wright or Simon Pegg sitting down and watching that movie and going, well, we've got to do a season 2 just to talk about this shit.
Well, there's one episode.
Yeah, right. The whole episode was him discussing this fucking movie, and
I'm gonna be honest, episode 1 wasn't that bad. Yes, throw out Jar Jar, he was very annoying, but Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, the whole Duel of Fate scene alone was just badass. I'm sorry.
All of my Star Wars knowledge comes from Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith movies, Kevin Smith podcasts, that's about it.
But don't get me wrong, it still doesn't hold a candle to the winds of the original trilogy, but it's not as bad as everyone says it is. So at least in my opinion.
There's only one return, and it's not of the king, it's of the Jedi. I am Anakin Skywalker. My shitty acting is ruining Saga.
You're crazy, Jar Jar.
Yeah. I did love the running joke, though. Twist, I think the best thing about her was the constant joke about her being in fashion. But she works at a laundromat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Every time they mention her or introduce her to somebody new, oh, she works in fashion, or I work in fashion. And it will cut to her at a laundromat.
I don't know, I think my funny running gag joke either has to be, we never see the landlord's daughter, so...
Amber?
Yeah, her. That whole, like, she always running up and down the stairs. We never see her. And then the whole flashback with Nick and Simon's Pegg's character, how they met as children.
You see the back of her, and she's dressed like Britney Spears. She's, like, dancing, and they're all, like, super sexualizing her, and you're like, how old is this girl supposed to be? Yes. All the guys seem to want to tap that.
How old is she supposed to be?
Well, I don't know, because I think in season 2 she moves out on her own, so hopefully she's at least 18 by then, but... Yeah, there's the great little bit, every time they'll hear her, the camera will follow kind of where they hear her, or when she runs by, it's like really fast, and like the wind will whip through their hair of her speed running by.
And then the door slamming.
Yeah.
One thing I loved was how one episode, is Tim there? Oh yeah, just a second, he's putting his clothes on. And then later, it was like the next season, is Jessica there, what's her name, Sarah. And just a second, she's putting her clothes on. And it just happens to be like their significant other on the phone. They're both like, wait, what? So it was a great, like, okay, you did this to me, so now I'm doing this to you.
Yeah, and the final episode is like a complete mimic of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the first episode, remember the two little girls who were like the shining girls hiding in the closet?
Yes.
And then in the last episode, the landlord's going to sell the house, and it's now them standing in the closet acting exactly like the two little girls were. There's a lot of little callbacks like that, which I always like. Actually, Raising Hope did that really well. If you watch the first episode of Raising Hope, and 4 seasons later, the last episode, they're complete mirrors of each other, but like perfect. So in that sense, you said you didn't like the final episode, but I kind of like the final episode of this because it's kind of a two-parter without really having to be a two-parter, but I think it closes the chapter on it pretty well. And it doesn't put a bow on it, which I think is good. Because maybe they did have aspirations to come back to this someday, but it does end the show, I think, properly.
I just feel like it was rushed, but it was still good, but I just felt like it was rushed.
Every British show is rushed because they don't do many episodes. Like,
it takes us forever to film a show.
Can you imagine an American show going like 2 seasons, 14 episodes, done? No. We covered the show News Radio on our podcast, which I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's one of my favorites. And there was this great thing where the network, NBC, was like, they wanted the male and female lead to be like, oh, will they, won't they? And they were like, we don't want to fucking do that. I hate that. Not like Ross and Rachel and shit. So they literally had them fuck in like episode 2, which I love that this show also does. And I wonder if that was kind of the same thing. Like, we're just going to have them fuck real quick, and they never really talk about it again.
Typical adult relationships.
Yeah. It's like, we got drunk one night, we fucked. Okay, moving on. But, I mean, especially with American shows, there's always that, like, you got to have the sexual tension, like Sam and Diane in Cheers. And they're like, nah, fuck that.
Do they ever, like, go back to that at any point by the end of the last 2 episodes? Like, is there any kind of input into the relationship, or would you just stay?
They always handled it kind of like pretty real. Like, if you were that close to somebody, yeah, we fucked once, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're in love with them. You could tell they're in love, like, friendship-wise. But even the last episode, there's a great bit where she's, like, gonna leave, and she writes a letter, like, oh. And he's reading the letter, and instead of being all sentimental, he's like, all right, skip to the end, and he reads like the okay, there she is. And he goes to the train station to get her. And he's, what did he say? All right, then. She goes, yep. And she just goes with him, and they go back to the house. It's not like a big drawn out, like, I need you, I love you, you know.
So it's not like the rain coming down. Just, no, don't get on that train. I love you.
It's something really simple like that. I think it's like, okay, then. She's like, yep. And then they just walk back to the house together. And, like, the final scene is basically them sitting there, like, watching TV. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, yes. That's a realistic.
Talk about sexual tension and stuff like that. I thought
the landlord.
Yeah.
Wanting to fuck everybody?
I thought the reason Brian was the way he was because of the landlord. Like,
the things he saw in that bedroom. The things he saw in that bedroom fucked him up.
Yeah.
Brian is the painter neighbor. He's got the abstract expressionism painting, and it is always really funny whenever they venture into his little space. Because he's just covered in paint. He's just fucking out of his mind. And again, the camera work, whenever he's fucking going nuts, especially that first episode when you first meet him. Just fucking paint flying everywhere, and he's hammering shit. And oh yeah, it's really good. He's got the crazy eyes going.
It's like that episode we watched. We had to do that art exhibit. Mm-hmm. And he's got the phone. He's just like, what do I do? What do I do? And then he gets knocked out with a paint can.
And he has the minor couple episode relationship with Twist there. And he realizes that when he's in a relationship, he loses all of his, like, artistic integrity. He's like, I'm not inspired. And the second they break up, he's back to it. Like,
Jesus.
He had to be full of sorrow and depressed and anger, just
typical artist.
Right.
Like typical writers, always working in the restaurant industry.
Also, his apartment seemed to be like that one little room. Like,
he had a studio apartment, literally, but it was more like a walk-in closet, it seemed.
I liked all the stuff with Daisy and the feminism, where she's always not quite sure. She's like, she never really feels like a lady, and it's like all the outside women kind of like point that out. Like when she goes for the job interview about the ladies magazine. And then like, he's like, are you a post-feminist? And she's just like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And she's like, do you drink shots or pints? She's like, I mean, I'll drink a pint. And they're like, okay, you can go. Like, a bitch drinking a beer? Get the fuck out of here. She's like,
how dare she drink a beer?
Amanda, do you drink shots or pints?
I go for both.
I've heard that about you.
All right, there's the door.
Swing both ways.
You go for vulva?
Yeah. Always.
Or Colin, for that matter?
Let's not go to that extent now. Okay, leave the doggy out of it. He's a good boy.
I think the one location I kind of wish they spent more time in was the comic shop, because I do feel like there was a lot of comedy there. We could have got more with customers and this and that, but there's only like the one where he gets fired with a customer.
Yeah.
And again, it's all over a Jar Jar figurine.
It's just him and Dildo Baggins. I mean, Bilbo Baggins. We talked about on our episode about Good Times, and this is probably a budgetary thing. The thing that's most real about Good Times is, say a character gets a shirt in an episode for a birthday present. Uh-huh. The next 9 years or whatever, they're wearing that shirt a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. This show, they do reuse the wardrobe a lot. You're like, oh, these do feel like poor people, normal. Like he has 10 shirts, and he wears those 10 shirts over and over and over. which is one weird thing that you don't see on shows like Friends, where Rachel's got a fucking brand new outfit every episode. Sometimes every scene in an episode. And you're like, I never saw that woman one time reuse a shirt or a dress, you know? There was one quote he says that really, I thought, summed this show up really well when she's talking about how she's trying to write and she's not inspired. And he's like, well, maybe poverty will inspire you. I feel like I just thought that line really summed the show up really well.
We're all poor. We need money.
As in, bitch, get to work or we're not going to eat shit. Or shite, sorry.
The fact that they, I want to touch base, the fact that they drug a fucking tank out just for a fucking white flag thing.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid to do it, but yeah, like, visually it was funny.
A little too much.
The best part of that scene, though, you know, Mike's waving the flag and they had the banner up, and it just cuts to Brian like, hi. Like, he doesn't know what to do.
Like, why are you putting the camera at me, man?
They're trying to win the landlord back, and because she's pissed at them. And so they literally drive up in a fucking tank, and she's like, what are you going to do, blow me up? You know? And Mike's waving the white flag. But yeah, it cuts to Brian, and he's just like he does, why am I here? Like, that was the funniest part of that. But yeah, I get it. And you assume they go, hey, someone on production says they can get us a tank.
Right.
I'm sure someone just had a tank just laying around. Oh, you could borrow it.
The cost of that tank was far more than the production of the whole entire series.
It's been sitting on that street since World War II. They're like, it moves.
We got a scene.
So, overall, do you recommend this show? Who do you recommend this show to, if so?
I would highly recommend it to anyone who follows Simon Pegg in his career, who absolutely love the Cornetto trilogy.
And for anybody not familiar, tell them why they call it the Cornetto trilogy, because it's the most asinine, ridiculous thing.
So they call it the Cornetto trilogy because in every single movie they always eat a cornetto. You know, Shaun of the Dead. Do you want anything from the shop? Cornetto. And Hot
Do
Fuzz.
we have that here? Because I don't think I've ever had it.
No, it's we don't have cornettos. We have it's pretty much the sundae cone where you peel the cap off. It's not one of the drumsticks.
Like a drumstick? Oh.
No. Not the drumstick, but it's the one that's more like flat where you can peel the cap off.
Oh, I know exactly which one you're talking about with the little spoon.
No. Not with the little spoon. It's an actual waffle cone, but you get like that much ice cream on the top. And it's covered with fudge and crushed nuts. So
you're going to pay extra to get my nuts crushed.
So, in Shaun of the Dead, you know, there was a shop scene, and when they're in Hot Fuzz, you know, let's go get some ice cream, and that's when you find out who the killers are, and that's when he realized there's more than one killer. And then there was another one.
Spoiler alert, jeez. Just kidding.
And then in the World's End, there was another one. I forget it right now. But also, in the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, each color represents something. Like in Hot Fuzz. Okay, Hot Fuzz was a blue one. The blue represented the cops. So if you actually go through and watch the movies, look for it, and try to find the connection to it. It's like a fun little game.
Did you notice the weird credits they'd pop up for no reason sometimes?
Yeah.
There was one that I noticed specifically for Edgar Wright, and it said it was directed by Edgar Right Here, Right Now. And you're like,
wait,
weird choice
Edgar
that just
right
popped
here,
right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
I did not see that.
Yeah, maybe the editor was just having a funny day. I'm going to put Edgar right here, right now for no reason.
See if he catches it.
Yeah, but
I mean, you never know.
I would say if you're not a fan of things like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, there's no real need for you to go out of your way to watch this. But if you do, one, like those movies, like Simon Pegg in almost anything, he plays a lot of the same character, which I love that character, so I'm okay with. Or if you just like British comedy, I'd say, yeah, this is a weird, quirky show. I think Brian is probably my favorite character on this show. Yeah, that dude fucking killed me every time he was on screen. He's just so awkward and strange, and I don't think you could go wrong. And like I said, it's only 14 episodes, 2 seasons. It's a quick, easy watch. Joe, I just barely asked you to do this, a couple days ago, and you were like, hey, I'll plow through fucking 14 episodes. And
yeah, I plowed through 14 episodes. I work a full-time job, and I'm also going to college, and I still play video games to make time for my family. So it's just...
And in one night, Amanda watched half the series with me. So
yeah.
it's like
it's an easy watch.
Yeah. That's what I do like about British shows. And like I said, if you watch Father Ted, go back and listen to our episode on that. That show is absolutely brilliant as well. So we're going to try to keep the British shows coming. At least one per hour season. I guess I shouldn't call them seasons for British shows because they actually call them series, which is very confusing. I mentioned on one episode, if you're buying shows, like British shows, you want to look for the complete series as your seasons, which is very confusing because you think you're getting the whole thing, but you're
it's
not.
only that first series.
I remember that when I first started buying DVDs going, wait, what?
Yeah, I was doing that when I was looking into Broadchurch because I fell in love with that show like ages ago. And when I heard that they were making a season 2, I kept looking for it, and they're like, there is no season 2. I'm like, no, where is it? I've seen the promos for it.
Series 2.
Yeah, I had to look up Series 2 to find it. And I was like, oh. And, of course, it was only 8 episodes. But it was a fun drama show. It's a fun drama cop show.
So one thing we do on this podcast is Nick and I have a running list of TV shows, and we add each new show to it, right?
Yeah.
So this is actually our 43rd show that we have covered on the podcast. And we'll find out from Nick when he's back next episode, hopefully. But for me, out of 43 shows, this is going to fall at number 35. And this falls just between Dharma and Greg and Too Close for Comfort. Which probably shows neither of you have seen, but...
No.
Yeah. We'll find out where Nick falls. Like I said, the only message I got from him regarding this show was, that show was strange. So, I'm interested to see how if he's like, fuck that, dude. I know he's a Simon Pegg fan, so we'll see. Anything else you guys want to add before we close it up?
Add to your list. Add to the comments. What?
Whatever you want. Is there something you want us to cover?
Oh, Mrs. Brown's
or a show
Boys.
you want to come back for?
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Okay.
I really would love to come on for that because
you want to come on Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Oh
yes.
Jesus.
Oh yes.
Interesting.
All right, I'm gonna get the police on speed dial real quick.
Hey, we don't know how old Mrs. Brown's Boys are.
I don't know.
How long of a show is that?
What?
4 inches? How long of a show is that? 2.5 on a cold day?
On a cold day in the summer.
When I met you in the summer.
All right. Do you guys want to plug anything? Joe, do you got anything you want to plug? You have a YouTube or Twitch or anything like that? Twitter?
Nah, I mean, I haven't really been doing any streaming or anything like that. If anything, I've been supporting my my friend who does streaming on Twitch. She's a cosplayer and stuff like that. I mean, can I plug her?
Yeah, shout her out.
Check out ND Cosplay. She's on Twitch. She does a lot of games right now. She's been playing Pal World, and she's going to be playing Enshrouded. She plays Scum. She knows the creators of the game Scum. She's good company. She's very active with her community on the Discord and in her Twitch streams. She's very, very open with them. ND Cosplay. Shout out to her.
All right. Amanda, what'd you want to plug?
Go ahead and plug in my YouTube channel, AmandaPlays93, where I play anything and all things horror games, a lot of action games. Right now, I'm doing something a little different where I've been pretty big on Disney Dreamlight Valley. As weird as that sounds, it's been super fun. It's very relaxing. It's a very calm game. I do a lot of decorating on that. If you're a big fan of anything Disney, I do recommend at least trying the game out, or at least stop by the channel and see what all the shenanigans is about.
You'll hear my sexy voice on her channel occasionally.
Yes. He plays a lot of Ghostbusters, Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff with me. A lot of asymmetrical horror games. We always have fun with that. I also do my podcast, The Scream Stream. I try to get a couple episodes out a month. I really been pacing myself this year since last year. I'm not gonna lie, I burnt myself out doing one like every week almost, and then when I started doing shows on top of that, I was just like, I gotta back up a little bit and space
If you
this
want
out.
a taste of her podcast, I've been on a couple, and I just for Christmas released the Black Christmas episode we did for your show.
Yes.
On this stream. If you're listening to this on the podcast stream, a couple episodes back in December, listen to the Black Christmas one. You'll get a vibe for what her show's about. I thank you both for helping me out tonight. For Nick, I hope you had a great shite, since we're talking about a British show. Or 12, perhaps. I don't know. Oh, man. Probably the most running you've ever done.
Just to that bathroom back.
Fucking rude, man. What the fuck? Run into the bathroom. Trust me, I've been there. Anyway, if you want to find me, you can check me out on YouTube at BidwellFog. I actually just put up a video there with this piece of shit bearded guy down here. Played some Call of Duty. He's okay. Nothing to write home about. You can find me on Twitch, also at BidwellFog. I stream some gaming there occasionally, not too regularly or too often. You can find this show on YouTube, Sitcom My Face, or any of your favorite podcast apps. You can also email us, sitcommyface@gmail.com. But until then, Joe, why don't you ask these kind people to sitcom your face?
Please, sitcom my face.
That's what I'm talking about. How can you say no to that? Wait. You didn't think we were going to close out this episode without actually getting Nick's thoughts on space now, did you? Actually, as he so eloquently put it, he had to shit this one out. But
yes, yes, I'm finally out of the John.
But we still want to know his thoughts on this little weird British outing from a few people that we love from things like Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
So, Nick, what do you think, man?
Well, yeah, you hit it with the one word there. It definitely weird. I'll say it took a couple of episodes to get its footing, and to allow for such weirdness. But I loved things like its little homages to cinema throughout. One of my favorites was the Pulp Fiction homage there with with Mike's gun that Daisy picks up. And then, she's making Pop-Tarts that, and Mike comes out of the bathroom.
So what did you think of the cast altogether?
I think it was a well put together cast. I think some actresses shone more than others. Like, I enjoyed Mike, of course, Nick Frost. How can you not? I also, Brian.
I thought you'd like Brian. I thought
yes.
Brian would be your guy.
Yeah. Brian is just, he was played by Mark Heap, and it just like the fact of he can only create when he's like depressed and
typical artist.
Typically like the tortured artist.
Art comes from pain.
Yes, and I love like one of the episodes, it's like he's listening to, instead of music, he's listening to the sounds of like screams and crying and such, and like they're talking to him.
I love this part.
I love this part. And then all of a sudden, like they're talking, and all of a sudden, like it stops. He's like, "Oh, hold on," and he has to turn the tape over. For all you boys and girls out there that don't know the fun of having to turn the tape over to listen to the other side.
Yeah, this show's a nice little time capsule, especially because of all the pop culture references. I really loved the Phantom Menace stuff.
Oh yes, always bringing up like how bad the Phantom Menace was.
It really places it in time. It's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, and it was strange in watching this when he first brings it up. It's like Phantom Menace. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, this is from like 2000, 1999. Yeah, it's around that time. So it's like, oh yeah, that's.
I was going to ask you: is this the first show we covered that's basically entirely written by the head cast?
It may be. It may well be because
maybe Kids in the Hall, Death Comes to Town could have probably, but
yeah, quite possibly. But this definitively. This was definitively, by the cast.
Every episode written by your two leads.
Mm-hmm. But like one of the ones that I wasn't as big on was Twist. Like I don't know, I liked the fact of
the running joke.
What's that?
Career, the running joke about her career in fashion.
She's in fashion, high fashion, and it's like we're working at the laundromat, working at the department store in like the clothing area. But no, what I was going to say with her, it's like when she and Brian got together, and the fact of Brian couldn't create because like, oh, he's happy. I think when they went also Mike heavy, again Nick Frost. I really enjoyed those. They have like Mike heavy and Brian heavy were like the times I think I enjoyed the show more.
Yeah, how did you feel about the transitions and the style of the filmmaking?
Again, it took a little getting used to, but I did enjoy it. I also, I think it was episode 2 that, I also wasn't ready for, like, again, for a British sitcom, for a jump scare, like, Tim's outfit. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh,
the mascot, where the fuck he wears it.
Again, going back to Mike, his backstory that like he was, I guess, given a discharge because he took a tank and invaded Paris.
You watched all 14 of these?
I didn't watch all 14. I watched 10 of the 14.
Okay, yeah.
But the fact of taking a tank to invade Paris and then at the end taking the tank to find what's her name? The landlord was Marcia, and again homage to Say Anything holding the.
Yep.
But it was definitely enjoyable. Like I said, it just took a little bit for me to adjust to the style, and after those couple of episodes, it definitely got its footing much better.
The crash zooms and the whip cuts and the
yeah.
I did like that with the flashbacks though. Like you mentioned when they're in the tree, when they're young boys in the tree, it's like every time you're gonna go to that scene, the characters kind of look up and the camera pans up and then it pans up to them in the tree and you're like, oh, cool shit like that is consistent that I liked.
Exactly. It was consistent, but I loved also for the fact of every time they had that sequence, it was slightly different.
There was one that was with an ink blot. I can't remember what the fuck it was, but it was cool, like a cool transition or something.
Oh, which one?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember going, that was pretty sick.
I would have been really curious. Like, I'm sure you're not into the like superhero films and such.
I watch them, but I don't love them.
Yeah, but it's not your main thing there.
I buy them because they look pretty in 4K.
Oh, there we go. But you know of the first Ant-Man movie with Paul Rudd. Mm-hmm. That Edgar Wright was originally writing and directing that movie, but through I guess disagreements in there, he has writing credits, but then it was directed by what was it? Peyton Reed.
You said Paul Rudd wrong too. You have to say Paul Rudd, star of Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. He loves that.
But Yeah, I would have been very curious to see if Wright had directed that, what it would have come out to be.
Well, where did you end up plopping this on your list?
I would put this above, I would say, Beverly Hillbillies on mine, which is right below Different Strokes. So 27 on mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I liked it better than a couple of these things. Again, I'll revisit my list, but like for what it was, and like for the enjoyment from that little 2-season or 2 series, as we went over, like in British sitcoms, or actually British television. I think it did well for itself. And the odd thing is, one of the podcasts that I listen to, the Flophouse, they were talking about, I forget where it went. They were talking about the movie Spaced Invaders, and then all of a sudden they started talking about Spaced. I was like, okay, now that's odd. Like, after all these time, just like all of a sudden, we're doing this, and then, hey, now they're talking about Spaced.
This does have quite a cult following.
Oh, yeah.
I think that just comes from the success of their films as well. But I remember when my first apartment must have been like 05, 06. There was a kid I worked with. He was down and out, and he was sleeping on my couch. He was obsessed with this show. But he was he had the DVD set, and he would fucking pop it in like every night, and he was watching over and over and over. And I was like, okay. And I never got around to watching it with him, but I was like, at that point, I was like, yeah, I like Shaun of the Dead, but we're done now. I don't need to sit here and watch this random British sitcom that you keep bragging about. But
yeah, and I looked up on IMDb. It gets an 8.5 out of 10 from 57,000 ratings.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah, like you said, definitely I'd say it's a little more than even a cult following. It seems like it almost seems like with some people it's like a rite of passage that, oh, did you see Spaced? Oh, you gotta watch.
Still a fun watch.
Oh, definitely.
And you'll have to listen to our full episode without you to find out.
Yes, I do. And I thank you for picking this show.